Hello dear students, myself Chetana Kalani, your English teacher. In our previous videos, we have learned Unit number 5, Read-1. We have discussed that there are so many ants in the world. Black ants, carpenter ants, redwood ants, farming ants, red ants, green tree ants, driver ants, carrying ants, accurate ants, weaver ants, formica ants, and so many. Today, in this video, we are going to discuss the exercise of this unit number 5, read 1 ants. આ પાઠમાં કીડીઓ અંગેની કેટલીક રસપ્રદ વાતો કહેવામાં આવી છે. કીડીઓ લગભગ દરેક ઘરમાં જોવા મળે છે. મોટાભાગના લોકોએ કીડીઓનું નિરીક્ષણ કર્યું હશે. કીડીઓ સતત ક્રિયાશીલ રહે છે. તે આળસુ હોતી નથી. આ પાઠમાં વિવિધ પ્રકારની કીડીઓની વાત કરવામાં આવી છે. કીડીઓમાં સામાન્યપણે જોવામાં આવતા સમૂહમાં કાર્ય કરતા કેટલાક અવલોકનો અહીં રજૂ કર્યા છે. તેમજ આપણે અજાણ હોઈએ તેવી કીડીઓની બીજી કેટલીક પ્રજાતિઓ અને તેમના વર્તન પણ દર્શાવ્યા છે. દાખલા તરીકે દક્ષિણ અમેરિકાની અમ્બ્રેલા એન્ટ કેવી રીતે પોતાના ખોરાકનું ઉત્પાદન કરે છે અને અશક્ય લાગતા કાર્યને સમૂહથી કેવી રીતે સરળતાથી પૂર્ણ કરે છે. કેટલીક કીડીઓને ગાય તરીકે પણ રાખવામાં આવે છે. યુરોપની રેડ એન્ટ ઈંડાને ઉપાડી લાવે છે અને તેમને ઉછેરી અને તેમને ગુલામ બનાવે છે. આ પાઠમાં આફ્રિકાની અમુક ખૂબ જ હિંસક ડ્રાઈવર એન્ટની પણ વાત કરવામાં આવી છે. સરળ ભાષામાં લખાયેલા આ પાઠમાં વિદ્યાર્થીઓ કીડીઓ અને તેમના વર્તન વિશે સમજ્યા. હવે ચાલો આપણે આ પાઠમાં આવતા કેટલાક નમૂનાના ટ્રુ ફોલ્સ મેં અહીં લીધેલા છે તેની ચર્ચા કરીએ. First sentence, a number of ants were down in a pit where they had killed some flies and other insects for food. This sentence is true. It is just as given in the textbook. Second sentence, it was as if the group of men were carrying a weight of 100 pounds. The answer of this sentence is false because into textbook it is used 200 pounds. Third one, science has noticed that intelligence of ants is very close to human intelligence. The sentence is right, so your answer is true. There are some ants that they do farming. This sentence is also right, so your answer is true. Fifth one, there are flies that domesticate cows and milk them. This sentence is also wrong because there are not flies but there are ants. So this sentence is wrong. So your answer is false. The green flies give out sweet honey-like liquid which the ants relish a lot. જે ગ્રીન કલરની ફ્લાઈઝ હોય છે, માખીઓ હોય છે, એ હની લાઈક મધ જેવું એક લિક્વિડ આપે છે કે જેને આ એન્ટ્સ છે એ રેલિસ મોજથી એને મજા માણે છે. તો આ સેન્ટેન્સ ચોપડીમાં આપેલું છે અને એક્ઝેક્ટ એઝ ઇટ ઇઝ છે એટલે એ સાચું છે. ટ્રુ. યોર આન્સર ઇઝ ટ્રુ. There are ants. They keep other ants as their masters. As their masters એ wrong છે, ખોટું છે. As their slaves એવું આવવું જોઈએ. તો there are ants that keep their other ants as their master is a wrong sentence. So your answer is false. Next sentence. When the red ants want slaves. જ્યારે લાલ કલરની કીડીઓને ગુલામની જરૂર હોય છે, they abuse the nest of the black ants. એ લોકો કાળી કીડીના nest એટલે કે માળામાં એટલે કે દર ઉપર હુમલો કરે છે and abduct some of their eggs. અને એમના કેટલાક ઈંડાઓ હોય છે એને એ પોતાની સાથે લઈ જાય છે. So the sentence is right. Your answer is true. The most ferocious kind of ants are the driver ants of America. This sentence is wrong. It is of Africa. So your answer is false. 10th one. Driver ants have fixed home and they are always on move. Driver ants have no fixed home. So our sentence is wrong and so our answer is also false. Now come on to the next point is nearest meaning. The words that are used into this lesson, we are going to learn the nearest meaning of these words that are used. Pit. Pit means whole. Whole means dar. Bits. Pieces. Tukda. Anthill. Mound made by ants. કીડીઓ દ્વારા બનાવેલો રાફડો. ક્લિફ, સ્ટીપ રોક, ખડક. અમેઝિંગ, સરપ્રાઇઝિંગ, આશ્ચર્યજનક. ફેરોસિયસ, મર્સીલેસ, ઘાતકી, ક્રૂર. ઇન્ડોલન્ટ, લેઝી, આળસુ. રેલિશ, enjoy. Enjoy means માણવું. Abuse, attack, હુમલો કરવો. Abduct, carry off, અપહરણ કરવું. Flee, run away, ભાગી જવું. Devour, eat. Eat means ભરખી જવું અથવા તો ખાઈ જવું. Drudgery, labor work, વેઠ કરાવવી. Compel, force, ફરજ પાડવી. આ નિયરેસ્ટ મિનિંગ તમને પરીક્ષામાં પૂછાતા હોય છે એટલે વારંવાર તમારે આનો અભ્યાસ કરવો. Now next read the extract and answer the question. અહીં આગળ પેરેગ્રાફ આપ્યા છે એને વાંચો અને નીચે આપેલા પ્રશ્નોના જવાબ આપો. તો ચાલો આપણે આ પેરેગ્રાફ વાંચીએ અને પછી નીચે આપેલા પ્રશ્નોના જવાબ આપીએ. The following behavior was noticed by a scientist who was making a study of ants. A number of ants were down in a pit where they had killed some flies and other insects for food. The ants began fetching the small bits of this insect up to their ant hill. So question is, what was the scientist doing? You can answer like this. Scientist was making study of ants. Scientist was making study of ants. Next question. What did the ants have as their food? The ants had killed some flies and other insects for their food. The ants killed some flies and other insects for food. Next paragraph. This was arduous work for them. The sides of the pit were steep, and considering the size of ants, the loads they were carrying were very heavy. These texts inform us about the laborious work of ants. Is it true? Yes. The sentence is true that the ants do laborious work. Next question. Why does the author say that they were carrying very heavy loads? The author says they were carrying very heavy loads because they had heavier loads compared to their size. They had heavier load compared to their size and the steep sides of the pit Next paragraph. Near the top of the pit, however, there was a small part of the way which was completely smooth and steep. Here there were no footholds. The ants came up to this point and their progress stopped. It seemed that after all they had been defeated. Where did their progress stop? Their progress stopped near the top of the pit. Their progress stopped near the top of the pit. Next question. Why did they seem to have been defeated? They seem to have been defeated because the way near the top of the pit was smooth and steep and there were no footholds. The way near the top of the pit was completely smooth and steep and there were no footholds. Next paragraph. The ants at the top began climbing down in the pit backward, each holding the tail end of another ant in front. In this way, an ant chain was soon formed which slowly dropped down the steep side. When it reached the ants weighting their loads, they easily climbed chain and came out at the top. Our question is, did the ant climb down backward in the pit? Yes. The ant climbed down backward in the pit. Here is your answer. The ants climbed down backward in the pit. How did the other ants climb up? How did the other ants climb up? The other ants climbed up by making ant chain and came out at the top. With the help of other ants, they make the ant chain and came out of the top. Next. Such behavior showing the adaptations of ants has been noticed and studied by many. Now science has discovered some things about ant life which seem to show that The intelligence of these tiny creatures is very close to human intelligence. What does such behavior show? Such behavior show the adaptations of ants. Next question. The ants are almost as intelligent as human beings. True or false? It is true. The ants are almost as intelligent as human beings. Next, they are called by that name because they are seen carrying large pieces of leaf over their heads as umbrellas. They take this pieces of leaf to their nest. Often they chew them up nicely. Afterwards, they make beds of these chewed up leaves. On these beds grow a kind of fungus which is the food of ants. Why are they called umbrella ants? This question is very important question and it is asked so many times in the board exam. So you must remember this. They are called by that name because they are seen carrying large pieces of leaf over their heads like umbrellas. How do they get food from leaves? The ants chew the leaves to make beds of these chewed leaves. The ants chew the leaves to make beds of these chewed leaves. A kind of fungus grow on the beds which they use as their food. Which they use there as their food. Next, ants we are told play games, nurse their sick and bury their dead. They see that each one in the nest does its share of the work and that no one is allowed to be indolent. All this suggests that ants have a highly developed social sense and perhaps some system of government. What are we told about ants? We are told that ants play games, nurse their sick, and bury their dead. No one was allowed to be lazy. Do you agree with it? Yes, I agree with it because no one is allowed to be indolent. Next paragraph. There are ants. They keep other ants as slaves. One such type is powerful red ant which is found in Europe. Their slaves are taken from a type of black ant which is smaller in size. When the red ants want slaves, they amuse the nest of the black ants and abduct some of their eggs. Where are the red ants found? The red ants are found in Europe. What do they do when they want slave? When they want slave, they attack. They abuse the nest of black ants and abduct some of their eggs. Next paragraph. Then there are ants that domesticate cows and milk them. When we have called cow are a kind of green fly. They are found on rose leaves and on the leaves of beans. They give out a sweet honey-like liquid which the ants relish a lot. So, the ants take these green flies to their nest and keep them there. They feed them, protect them from their enemies, and they milk them, pressing their sides gently and making them give out their honey. How do some ants domesticate cows? Green flies are milking cows. Green flies are milking cows for some ants. They take these green flies to their nest and keep them there. They keep them there. They feed them, protect them from their enemies and milk them. Next question. How do the ants milk green flies? Green flies give out a sweet honey-like liquid, which the ants relish a lot. The ants press their sides gently. The ants press their sides gently and make them give out honey. Thus, they milk green flies that are cows for them. Next question. The most ferocious kind of ants are the driver ants of America. This paragraph is most important paragraph of this lesson. So study it well and read it well. They have no fixed home, but they are always on move. They are completely blind, but they march in long lines, many millions along, and they devour any animal that happens to be in their path. Even large animals like tigers and elephants live in fear of them. Which are the most ferocious kind of ants? How are they? The most ferocious kinds of ants are driver ants of Africa. They are completely blind. How are they? They are completely blind. Why are even large animals live in fear of these ants? The driver ants keep on marching in long lines and devour many millions along, and they devour any animal that happens to be in their path. So, large animals live in fear of these ants. Next paragraph. There are ants that keep other ants as slaves. On such type is a powerful red ant which are found in Europe. The slaves are taken from a type of black ant food there which is small in size. When the red ants want slaves, they amuse the nest of the black ants and abduct some of their eggs. Which type of ants keep other ants as slaves? Powerful red ants keep other ants as slaves. Why do the red ants amuse the nest of black ant? The red ants amuse the nest of black ants to get slaves for them. Slaves for them or themselves. So here are some extracts and their questions. We have discussed their answers. Now come on to the next part, the short note. This short note is important short note. Different kinds of ants and their specialities. Here are points given. Ants that do farming, umbrella ants, beds of tree leaves and raise fungus for food, domesticating cows for milk, making other ants as slaves, driver ants of Africa, and most ferocious ants. I am reading the short note. All of you pay attention because we have already discussed the lesson, so you can easily understand the short note. There are ants that do farming. The umbrella ants of South America are so called as they are often seen carrying large pieces of leaf over their heads like umbrellas. They take pieces of leaf to their nest, chew them up nicely, and make beds of these chewed up leaves. On these beds grows a kind of fungus which is the food of ants. Then there are ants that domesticate cows and milk them. They are green flies to their nest, nourish them and milk them, pressing their sides gently and making them give out their honey. There are red ants that keep black ants as their slaves. The red ants attack the nest of black ants and abduct some of their eggs and take them to their nest. When the eggs are hatched, the black ants come out, are treated as slaves and compelled to do drudgery. They have even to carry about their masters on their back. The most ferocious kind of ants are the driver ants of Africa. They are completely blind. Still, they march on in long lines and they devour any animal that comes in their way. Even large animals like tigers and elephants live in fear of them. If a python happens to come in their way, they devour both the python and the animal in its stomach. When an army of the driver ants enters a house, the people flee into the forest and stay there until the ants have passed. So, here we have discussed the important points just as true or false, nearest meaning, extracts, its question and answers, and short note. All of you study these parts very well so that you can have good ideas of this unit. Now we are going to meet in our next video for our next unit. Till then, goodbye. Have a nice time. Thank you so much. Bye bye.